All right, guys, 7 o'clock in the morning. Look at that mountain over there. Yeah, it's not that impressive. All right, so woke up, pulling these tarps off, rolling them up. I don't think we can drive for another hour. So last night, where we parked, I guess is the local kid hangout. Bunch of like trucks and cars and kids, and brought back the good old days of how we used to ride the strip when we were kids. So hopefully we can get this thing dropped today, drive down, pick up another one of these, and then make it back here tomorrow night, and just keep doing that over and over and over. Now that we have a good place to park, I don't know if I told you guys, I got fuel for $2.40 something a gallon with that TSD card. Man, that thing, I mean, you have to fill up at a TA or a pilot, but you're dang sure saving some money with it. So I think the best I could do on that exit in that area was like $3.30 something at a pilot or a Flying J. So they're proud of their fuel, but it was like $3.30 something before the TSD card. So that is super impressive. They're not a paid sponsor, by the way, so I'm just trying to help you guys out. Save $1 here, save $1 there. Maybe we'll all have a little bit of money left over at the end of the week. All right, let me get done. Oh, there's that patch that we did a while back with that that tape from TV, flex tape. Seems to be holding up pretty good. I don't know why the first patch didn't stick. I mean, honestly, it was raining, but in their commercial, they show him slapping that tape on top of a tank that's peeing out water. So you can see these are a little wet from last time we used them. So I think I'm just gonna pull it out here, let that little bit of moisture dry off, and roll this thing up. This thing didn't quite cover all the way down on both sides, so I do have that bigger tarp. We put the bigger tarp up there that we never end up using. I just end up using this blue one and my two black ones, and it completely covered the top just in case it, you know, drizzled last night. But it wouldn't work. These wouldn't work in like a downpour driving with this thing. So anyways, let me get these things folded up. Lita's in there making some coffee. The APU shut off at like 6 o'clock this morning for some reason. I don't know if it's got some weird timer set up. So I'll have to look into that. It ended up starting up shortly after that. So I kind of freaked out because the truck instantly gets hot. Like as soon as that AC shuts off, I mean, it's like you go from being in a freezer to an oven. So anyways, let me get this cleaned up. What's going on back there, baby girls? So we got here, they had 2 trucks pulled around back. They want me to wait for both trucks to leave. There's already been one that's left, so we're waiting on one more. Then we can pull around back. You see it's 8:50 right now, so hopefully it won't be too much longer. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Waiting for something amazing to happen.
Nothing amazing's happening. This laptop is messing up.
All right, we just dropped in Cleveland, Georgia. When we got here, I called the broker and let them know that we're here. He was on the phone, so I talked to somebody else. And they were supposed to send us a Raycon for the next one, and supposedly they've canceled all the other orders. That doesn't make sense. They might have found somebody to do them cheaper. Because when we picked this up at the place, I actually asked when I was in the office, and they said, yeah, there's multiple orders. So maybe they did cancel it. I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I just know we've been screwed on a deal like this many, many times. So now we got to start looking. Luckily enough, though, it's still early. It's 9:45. They were pretty quick about getting us unloaded once we were back there. So I don't know. On to the next. All right, guys. Looks like we are going from Carlton, Georgia, to somewhere in South Dakota. We've got about 3 hours of deadhead. I think it's 1,600 miles. All right. Supposed to be some reels of cable, I think. So we'll see you when we get there. Well, now we just sit here and wait for them to come get us so we can get, I guess we're grabbing 16 reels. This is going to Huron, South Dakota. It must be little reels if it's going to be 16 reels. I mean, they've got some giant reels here. That or the Raycons are on. It's supposed to be 38,000 pounds though. So, I don't know, we'll see. It's nice and cool outside, so we got the windows down. We turned the truck off. Lita's back here editing a video for me. Mm-hmm. She's done like what, the last 4 videos?
Don't tell them that.
Oh. They can tell by the music, they said.
Yeah.
Nate's taking a nap. No, he's, what are you on, the iPad?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're loaded up. I don't know how long it took us to load. Let me see. 4 hours. We've been here for 4 hours, and that includes loading this and waiting, obviously. So, ended up being 16 coils. We ran out of chains, so we had to use straps. So we stuck one coil on the front by itself, and we did the same thing on the back. And it's got straps as well. So. Just like that. I don't have enough room in my chain rack for more chains. So I'm not sure what to do about a situation like this. I chose the front and the back because it was a single coil. We throw three straps on each. So, all right, let me hit the road. All right, guys, we are somewhere in Alabama. We are parked like jerks. But we're not staying here tonight. We're just gonna stop here and grab a shower because we are disgusting. I don't know if my face is black or not. I don't know if you can see how dirty my arms and my hands are, but I'm pretty filthy. Having to handle all those chains. I think the chains are pretty dirty. I think they get you dirtier. Plus, a lot of my straps are dirty too. Everything's dirty in flatbed. So, anyways, it's about 8 o'clock at night. We're gonna stop here and get a shower. Look at that mountain over there. Isn't that American flag? America. Yeah, so we're gonna get a shower. I think I still have like 4 or 5 hours of drive time left. Somehow, I can't figure it out. I shouldn't have this much drive time because we started at 9 o'clock, and I don't know. I'll have to take like a screenshot or a better look at it or something. But I shouldn't have the amount of time that I have. So, anyways, I'm walking Fat Butts while they gather some clothes together, and then we'll grab a shower, and then we'll probably drive another probably 2 or 3 hours maybe tonight. I think it's a 20-hour total drive. I think we're probably 2 hours into it, and we should be able to drop these Thursday and hopefully pick something else back up. And if we can, this week will be an amazing week. Freight is on fire right now. I mean, it's ridiculous right now. I don't know what's going on. So, anyways, let me get her put up. We're gonna grab a shower. Thanks to Nomadic Brit. Go follow his channel. I'll put a link in the description. So, good dude. Let's go, Fat Butts. Well, the plan was, after we got our shower, we were just gonna kind of pull out this way because the fuel pumps are back that way. But it took them what, like an hour and a half to get us our shower? Yeah. And then like 4 trucks lined up next to us. And now it's 10 o'clock at night. So planning on stopping at 10 o'clock anyways. So I think we'll just shut it down here for the night. I'm kind of tired. Everybody else tired? You guys didn't do shit. Lita helped me.
He couldn't get out of the truck.
Yeah, they wouldn't let Nate out of the truck. You have to be 18 or older. So he got to sleep in while we loaded all those reels up. These are sorry as Fat Butts.
Is your dinner good?
All right, guys, we have stopped for the night. We are parked at a TA across from the Oak Grove 70. I don't know if that's going to show up or not. I'm sure a lot of you guys know where that is. So I want to talk about a few things while we're stopped. We actually ran out of time kind of early today because I wouldn't say we started early, but we lost an hour basically compared to where we were, because now we're Central Time. So it's 7:45. So basically, so we've been trying to switch factoring companies for a couple of months now. We are currently with OTR Capital, and the nail in the coffin for them is two things. Number one, okay, so one leads to the other. So a lot of times you'll so what you do is you punch in the MC number of the broker that you're looking at a load for, and what happens is it kicks back and it says approved or not approved, basically if they'll factor that broker or not. And what we ran into a lot was call the office. And what that means is their credit's kind of questionable. So you need to call the office for them to run their credit and let you know if they would factor that load or not for you. Which is kind of a huge pain in the butt, especially when we were doing non-CDL hotshot, because by the time you run the broker and it kicks back, call the office. You call the office, you wait on the phone for, you know, who knows how long for somebody to answer. It was even worse during COVID, which seems like the CDC has lifted the masks, so now all the driver's lounges are open, so that's kind of nice. Anyways, so you would call up and then they would give you the yay or nay on whether or not they would factor the load. Well, the last few months, they've been sending you overseas. Lita says the girls are from Colombia. So now you have to sit on the phone and wait for somebody to answer in Colombia and hope you can understand them. So that was it for me. So anyways, we were going to switch to RTS, or we're going to switch to RTS. And RTS has been on them and been on them. You know, when's the buyout date? When's this? When's this? You know, trying to get everything lined up. And they've basically been stonewalling them. A couple of weeks ago, we factored a load through OTR. And OTR is like, oh, you factored another load through us. Now you're locked into another 1-year contract. And I'm like, no, I'm not. You guys are refusing to give us our buyout date. And a buyout date is basically a date that one factoring company agrees to sell everything that needs to be factored over to the new one. So let's say we had 20 invoices that hadn't been paid with OTR. RTS agrees to buy those off of OTR and now become liable for them, and take over basically ownership of them. So OTR obviously doesn't want to lose customers, so they basically keep stonewalling you. Oh, we don't know what the buyout date is. Oh, and they want what's called an aging report, I think is what they call it, which is basically what we need to get factored, what's still in the books. And so, you know, we factored that load because we figured, oh, you know, it's whatever, you know, it's the buyout date's the buyout date. Finally, we've been on the phone back and forth with them, and finally OTR is like, okay, all right, we'll let you out of your contract. So RTS has been trying to email OTR and get all the paperwork in order, and OTR is like refusing to like communicate with them. It's almost like a childish game at this point, all to try to save me. But save me as a customer. I guess they do this, and then, so we're sitting on a bunch of invoices now, because now we can't invoice OTR for any of these loads that we've been pulling the last few weeks. And they've completely locked us out of our OTR. So thankfully, Lita had already went back for tax purposes and wrote down everything that we had factored through OTR, trying to get all our tax information together. Well, they've locked us out of our account, so we can't go back and see what's been paid, what hasn't been paid. You know, they could lie about, at this point, they could lie and say, these brokers never paid us our money, so we're gonna need you to pay us our money. And I would be like, I don't know if they paid you the money or not, because I don't have any of the invoices. I don't have access to any of that anymore. So one of the things the RTS needs is the aging report. I think that's what they call it. I don't know. Lita went to the bathroom. She's been dealing with it all. It's basically an aging report or something of that nature, of how much work have we been factoring through them, right? So RTS, his name's Brian, which I'm kind of pissed off about this too. Lets us know today, after all of what's going on, you have to factor at least $10,000 a month, or else they drop you. Which $10,000 really isn't that hard to do. But as you guys know, I take off time. I work to live. I don't live to work, right? We're going to be building a house soon, so I might be taking off a month at a time. What's that called that RTS needed that OTR sent over? An aging report?
Aging report.
Okay, yeah, so I was right. An aging report. So that kind of rubbed me wrong. Like, you waited up till this point of us, like, switching over to be like, oh, you need to do at least $10,000 worth a month, which normally isn't a problem. They got the aging report from OTR, and they're like, you guys are barely doing anything. And I'm like, we're like, only thing Lita could think about was, like, we've been doing a shit ton of loads that OTR wouldn't factor because of their credit history, right? Am I talking too loud, fat butts? She's freaking out right here on the floor, like, what is he yelling at?
Yeah.
Trying to make sure I'm talking loud enough, because my mic holder's broken.
Yeah.
And it's up here on the windshield. So the only thing Lita could think about was, I mean, we've done a bunch of loads that you guys that they wouldn't factor. So they're like, okay, well, email us over the loads, basically proving that we've done these loads, which I kind of feel is bull crap. Like, I don't have to prove to you anything. You either want to factor my loads or you don't want to factor my loads. If you don't want to factor my loads, let me know. I'll go down the road. I'll find another factoring company. Go lay down, babies. It's okay. So Lita's getting all these emails together, basically showing all these loads that OTR wouldn't factor. Therefore, we're still doing work, which, of course, you know, we took off 2 weeks to paint Dad's car, and then we've been working on the truck on and off, a week here, a week there. And Lita looks at the aging report that OTR sent RTS, and she starts comparing them with everything that she had just written down through OTR. And it's like OTR is lying to RTS at this point of how many loads and how much we've been factoring. Because I think they know that RTS requires $10,000 a month. So they're saying we've only done like one load each month for the last 4 months, which is complete horseshit. So honestly, I feel both companies have kind of dropped the ball. You know, he should have let me know about the 10,000, which, like I said, 10,000 isn't hard to do. But like I said, what if we go on vacation? What if the truck breaks down? What if the truck is in a shop for a month? You're now going to drop me as my factoring company? Okay, well, whatever, right? So, anyways. Well, I've been babbling for 10 minutes. So y'all sit down and get ready for this too. So, I've been writing down, I write down all of my fuel. My screen just went to sleep. I need to make sure it's looking at me. What button do I hit here? All right, I've been writing down all my fuel, right? And then a lot of people are like, you need to buy Pittsburgh Power. It's gonna help you out. Your fuel mileage is gonna go up. It's amazing stuff, blah, blah, blah. I am almost halfway, I'm a little more than halfway through the jug that does 3,000 or 4,000 gallons or something like that. So I have, and if I remember correctly, I'll take a picture of this and I'll put it up on the screen, or have Lita type it up really nice. So I haven't technically sat down and figured out, like, I haven't added them all up to see what my overall MPG is. And a lot of this is us running through the winter time. So I'm not sure. I know the Ford did terrible on the winter blend. I mean, I lost a lot of miles per gallon on the winter blend in the Ford. But I mean, like, so let's see, how far back does this go? So I'm getting like 5.14 miles to the gallon here, 5.3 there, 5.6, 5.6. I didn't figure it out every time I filled up, but I have every single time I've ever filled up, where I filled up, what the cost was, and I used to write down the hub compared to the dash. I quit doing that. So I usually write down where we were, what the price per gallon was, which card I used, and what my mileage. Anyways, so I mean, it seems as though it's helping a little bit, but the cost of it doesn't seem to offset how much it helps. I sat down a long time ago and I figured out how much I would have to save in order for it to be worthwhile. And I think I was gonna have to get like a half a mile a gallon more. And that's, I definitely don't think that's the case. Basically what I'll probably do is, now that it's the summertime, I'm gonna run this jug out and I'm gonna keep writing it down and make sure that the winter blend wasn't hurting us that much. So this past time that I filled up once in Madison, Georgia, but there's a gas shortage, so they only let me get 60 gallons. So I didn't write down my mileage on that. So the last time I filled up was today, was at a TA in St. Louis. I ended up doing 161.45 gallons. What's weird is, now that I'm running the APU, my APU pulls off of the passenger side tank. I don't know how evenly the truck pulls from both tanks, but I want to keep track of like how much more one tank gets than or I need to fill up more than one tank. I wish I'd have done it before the APU, but I didn't think it was going to be, I didn't think of this, I didn't foresee this being a thing. So anyways, the APU side took 81.8 gallons to fill up the APU side tank, but then it was 161.45 total for both tanks. So technically, that's not that far off. The driver's side tank only took a half a gallon more. I would like to sit down and figure out how much this APU takes each night to run. Which, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it. It shut off again at 6 o'clock this morning. I think whoever had the APU had it shut off after so many hours. I think I've gone in there. I was kind of like half asleep this morning and punching the display. I'm hoping I have that fixed and it won't shut off. Oh, look, she looks like Fat Butts. Or he looks like Fat Butts.
Oh, yeah. It's another...
Yeah, it's a male pit.
Fat Butts.
Yeah, it looks just like Fat Butts. A little bit more white, huh?
Yeah, he's got white on the face. Like right there.
Anyways, I'm going to keep track of all this. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to try to figure out what it costs to run this APU every night. The truck's running great. The APU's running great. Big shout out to Roberto, man. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love, you know, honestly, you know, I got the APU and then people were like, you know what, he was probably just trying to get rid of his junk. And I was thinking, well, you know, if it is trash, I can scrap it. But then I spent like half a day the first time trying to get this thing mounted on the truck. And then I spent like 2 days mounting it on the truck this time, running fuel lines, hooking up radiator hoses. And I'm like, crap, you know what? If this thing doesn't run this time, it's gonna suck. And then I found out the glow plugs were broken off in the heads, and I'm like, oh my God, how big of a nightmare is this gonna be? Honestly, it wasn't too bad. The glow plugs are known to be frozen inside the heads. So I think what I'm gonna do is every time I go to change the oil, which it says to change the oil in it every 1,000 hours, it says it has 3,000 hours on the APU, according to the little control that we put in. So every time I go to change the oil, which if it's not at, if it doesn't hit 1,000 miles or 1,000 hours by the time I change the truck, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and change the APU anyways. It takes 3.5 gallons of oil and an oil filter. So anyways, what I'll do is I'll back the glow plugs out and I'll clean them up real good. Because I think what they do is they screw down in there and then they get seized. Look, it's a doggy, fat butts.
She's not paying attention.
She don't care. She's like, food, where? So I think that's what I'll do is I'll just back the glow plugs out each time. I looked it up. It's a known issue with these engines. What upsets me is we called 10 or 15 tractor places. Kubota tractor places too. Not all of them are Kubota places. Because it's a little Kubota engine. And nobody carries glow plugs. Like, you call them, oh no, we don't carry glow plugs. It's like, you're a tractor place. And you don't have glow plugs? I can understand maybe, oh, well, we don't have those glow plugs. It's like, no, we don't carry glow plugs. Like, why? So, anyways, I've been babbling for 17 minutes. We're gonna eat some food. We're gonna shut down because we're gonna wake up early in the morning. We're gonna be able to drop this load tomorrow. They stay open till 5. If I get up and leave when I can, which will be like 6:30, no, we can leave at like 5:30. So we'll leave at 6. We'll leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. We've got, I think 7 hours left to drive. This place stays open till, why doesn't it have, oh, here it is right here. We have 424 more miles to do. So that'll put us being able to drop tomorrow, which it's not looking good out of South Dakota. Mason found a load on the board, but they're not answering the phone. We would drive up to Fargo, 200 miles.
Please drive to highlighted route.
We would drive 200 miles up to Fargo, pick up a load, and bring it right back down to basically where we're at now. It's like Sioux Falls is where it's gonna go, I think, but we're in Huron. I think Huron is like really close to it. And so it'll be 200 miles up, 200 miles down, and it pays like $2,000. So it'll finish out our week, and then if we can get a hold of that, then he can start looking for a load for us leaving Monday on Thursday and Friday. So this will be our best week so far. If we can find another decent paying load for the week, this will be by far our best week. It'll be hard to beat this week. Freight is on fire right now. There are a lot of cheap stuff out there, but this week has been some record-breaking stuff. So anyways, let me hop off here. I'm sure these guys are ready to eat. I've been babbling now for 19 minutes and 11 seconds, 12 seconds, 13 seconds, 14 seconds, 15 seconds, 16. All right, let's go.